Good afternoon. Welcome back to another episode of Brapcast. Today we are here with Bob Hansen from the Puddle Cutters. How you doing today, Bob?
Good. Hi, moped buddies.
So we are here today to learn a little bit more about the Puddle Cutters. Who are the Puddle Cutters?
All right. Well, we're out of Portland, Oregon. I believe we established in 2006. We got voted into MA. We started the gang a little before that, though.
So you guys have been around for 12 years now.
Yeah. We just had our 12th anniversary ride about 2 weeks ago.
Wow, I think that makes you guys one of the longest standing clubs in the moped army. Is that right?
Longer standing clubs, yeah. I know Mosquito Fleet's been around and going strong for a few years prior to us. I think maybe 3 or 4 years prior to us. And they actually had a hand in kind of helping us get our branch started. And they're basically our sister branch. You know, we trade off every year for our rally, which is nice. Only having to do a rally every other year, which is kind of the thing for a lot of Moped Army branches, particularly the West Coast branches.
It seems like it's quite a bit of work to get a rally off the ground, especially consistently.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've got a lot of truth be told, I had prior experience doing rallies coming from riding vintage scooters, Vespas and Lambrettas and stuff. So, I'm not a stranger to planning rallies. So once you got the formula down, it's pretty easy. It's just adding all the fun stuff to make it unique and interesting and fun for everybody.
Very true. It takes a certain kind of person to be able to take a rally from well done to memorable and epic.
Yeah, to like, holy shit, that was amazing. I can swear on here, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, good.
So you guys started in 2006. What got you guys going?
I believe, I'm horrible with dates, so don't quote me on that. Everybody knows this. I'll fuck it up. I even fucked up one of our anniversary rides. I accidentally thought that we were a year older, so thusly the the anniversary ride was deemed Back to the Future.
Very nice.
Because of my fuck up.
So Puddle Cutters started a long time ago.
Uh-huh.
What got you guys to want to open up a club?
It was funny. I'd been, like I said, hanging out with like the scooter clubs here in Portland, and the riding community here is a lot different from other cities. Like, there's a lot of camaraderie between the scooterists and the motorcycle clubs and the mopeders. Like, we all invite each other out to each other's events and coordinate events together and stuff. Like, it's a great community here. But I'd been kind of searching around looking for a moped, had kind of gotten wind of Moped Army and kind of what that was all about, and I thought it was awesome. And I started looking around, and I figured that, hey, there must be some people that are keen to it here in Portland. And just started looking, and there was nobody. There was no branch. There was no people meeting up that I could find. So, like, I got a bike and started messing around with it. My first bike was a Moby.
After my own heart.
I got a couple of them. Yeah. I've since moved on, but I'm going to probably come back. I ride Pooks primarily, but for race needs, varied is the way to go, obviously. But I picked a couple bikes up and had actually talked with some of the guys in Seattle, Mosquito Fleet and Blackball, which is another club up there that tends to hang with a lot of the other two-stroke clubs, scooter clubs and whatnot. And they kind of got me pointed in the right direction. We'd put in group orders to like Mop Shop because there was no resource really in America for performance parts. There's a few, like Myron's and, some older, moped shops that had, been around since the 70s or whatever. But, I got a bike, and I was actually riding by my house and saw another moped like parked at like one of the little like cafe bars like down the street from my house. And I remember like waving, and the guys whose bikes they were sitting outside like on the patio. Went up and like introduced myself, and that was Adrian, who's one of the first five and one of the founding members.
Was it with like a slow motion soft rock soundtrack,
yeah,
faded
totally.
out colors?
Yeah. Yeah, it was very romantic. But yeah, so I met Adrian, and then I was tending bar, and one of our regulars overheard me. He was at the time. This is Brodeo. So I'm working at the bar. This all kind of happened within like a couple week period. There was like this just kind of the beginnings of what we didn't know was to become the Puddle Cutters. But yeah, Mike Brodeo was a regular at my bar, and he'd been building bicycles and stuff. He was really into riding bikes, and he overheard me explaining to someone that a moped was basically a bicycle with an engine. And that kind of blew his mind, and and he chatted me up, and I was like, "Dude, that sounds awesome." And I was like, "Well, I got a bike for sale if you want to come by and check it out." And sure enough, he came by like a couple days later and rode off with the thing. And I don't know. Aside from that, yeah, I got some of my roommates into it, and yeah, it just kind of progressed from there.
Oh, that's quite the history. That's one way to get going.
Yeah.
So what are you guys all about when you do get together for events? What do you guys do? I don't know. You do a weekly ride, or? Yeah,
we have 2 weekly meetups and a monthly club meeting where we actually sat down and talk about events and status of the gang and prospects and whatnot. But yeah, we meet up Wednesdays. And then Sundays is kind of a loose brunch, possibly Sunday ride if somebody wants to plan a ride, and if it's nice out, whatever. I mean, this time of year it's kind of shitty, as everyone knows. It rains a lot here in Portland.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, and that's kind of been our mainstay since we started. And that was another one of the things, like we had contacted Seattle after our first like big group ride. Like once we actually got together and had enough people to like start a Moped Army branch. Well, okay, let me back up. That's not exactly how it all went down. So the beginning of the Puddle Cutters, so Brennan Olafson also lived here at the time. And that bar that I was talking about that I was working, that's also where like all the scooter kids would meet up. So Brennan had just moved to town, and he had some friends from Chicago. He's from Chicago, but he had some friends in town visiting that were also scooterists, and they came out to their weekly meetup, which was on a Tuesday. And so him and I started chatting because whatever, just bike enthusiasts, and we both kind of started talking about mopeds. And we're like, yeah, we need to get mopeds. And like he's another one of the first 5 that helped kind of get the Cutters off the ground. But there was an evening, so it was me and Brennan, Brodeo, Adrian, and our housemate. Well, he owns the house. He's still there. Is June Bunton, and we were at the house wrenching on bikes. It was back in the days of drinking lots of Sparks. So we were at the house, drinking in the basement, making wizard staffs of Sparks. And Brennan had he was going to go to the gun and knife show, and I was like, hey, I gave him some money. I was like, hey, go pick me up a switchblade. Get me like one of the old like stiletto style switchblades while you're there. And by the time he got back from that, he got back to the house, and we were already all shit-housed. And, we had been riding a little bit together. I mean, we had already kind of formed a crew, but we hadn't really, I don't know if we deemed ourselves the Cutters yet, but kind of this is what solidified that as we all, with the new knife, all kind of cut in as like blood brothers that night.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and I don't think that like it was intended that like, oh yeah, now we're the Puddle Cutters. It that happened later, along with contacting Mosquito Fleet as to how to start a branch and whatnot. There's another local guy, Zane. He's also into like mopeds and scooters and bicycles. Like he's kind of a burner dude. Burner, I think he's Dropout, which is one of the bicycle clubs out here. And he had put out on, I think he just sent out just like a kind of a mass email and posted some stuff up on Moped Army about a group ride. And, invited Seattle down and whatever locals were here in Portland. But Zane's pretty zany and tried to lead the ride on an older, like a 50s Moby. Jesse would be able to tell you the make and model of that. I'm pretty bad at that stuff as well.
I've had one of them. Yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm talking about, one of the older Mobies, and he wanted to lead a ride out to like Savi's Island, which is like out on the highways, which is like 45 miles an hour. Plus, it's quite a distance for a bunch of stock bikes. And I don't think his bike even made it more than like a couple miles before he broke down anyways. So I ended up having to commandeer the ride. And, we just did a basic like ride around town. And, there's tons of, you kind of can't go wrong riding around in Portland. Like, it's tons of windy streets. It's a lot of fun. There's lots of hills and stuff. So, we kind of finished the ride out and we go to this bar, the Yukon, and kind of sit down with Mosquito Fleet, and we just start hashing out ideas of, okay, what are we going to call ourselves? Because Brennan Barons, who's been, one of the founders of, or is the founder basically of Mosquito Fleet, was kind of just like, you guys have to have a name, you guys have to have like X amount of people. So we sat down, like had my sketch pad with me, and I started drawing stuff, and we kind of mulled over some names. Like Adrian wanted us to be called the Cascadian Cavaliers. that got shot down pretty quick.
Oh my.
And then we were just going to be straight up like the Cutters. But there was, at the time, there was another moped gang, the Cutters, out on the East Coast. So we were just like, we don't want to step on anybody's toes. So Puddle Cutters was the natural progression of all of that, us living in Portland and it raining all the fucking time. But yeah, I mean, that's basically like how we came to be. And then, I think we were just doing our thing here for probably a little over a year before we actually got voted into MA official. Brennan and I went and kind of did our pilgrimage back in the day when barbecue was a big thing in Kalamazoo, and went to that rally a couple times and kind of made our presence known. Well, me in particular, because I don't know, I was on a 3-day drunk, and they used to do boxing. I fucked that up because I don't know, we were sitting on a loading dock in Kalamazoo. They were having like the big party. I think it was Friday night. It must have been Friday. But, everybody was boxing, and we were watching, and, it was a thing they did every year. And, it was a bunch of dudes, like, fighting, but play fighting, but, like, hugging and making out, just having fun. And somebody shouted out into the crowd, all right, who's going to fight Nigel? And me not knowing Nigel or anything really about, I think that was my first, I can't remember if it was my first, I think it was my first Kalamazoo rally. But, so anyways, I get up. Well, from what I understand, Nigel had just gotten out of jail, also known as Hollywood Holt. I believe he got signed to Kanye's label, like last year or 2 years ago.
Oh my!
Talented dude, yeah. No, Throw a Kit, that song. That's
yes,
Nigel. That's Nigel. That's Hollywood Holt.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess I don't know if he'd just gone out of jail, something. Anyways, he's a scrappy fucker, and I was planning on, just like kind of play fighting and fucking around, and yeah, I got my ass handed to me. I think we went 2 rounds, but he threw a punch and connected, got me right in the nose. Didn't break my nose, but definitely broke a blood vessel. And blood, blood, blood all over the concrete warehouse floor. And so people kind of
Ouch.
lost it. Like, I know a lot of petty cash were soaking up dollar bills, soaking up blood.
Jesus
It was like
Christ.
souvenirs. Like, it was pretty gnarly. But that definitely solidified our getting voted into the next round of Moped Army branches. Because, yeah, I guess it was kind of unforgettable watching that go down.
So you quite literally took your licks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, it was all good. Like I said, it's circumstantial, but again, yeah, it solidified our, getting voted in that next round, which is cool. And so, as tradition with Puddle Cutters, if you want to become a member, we have our like 3 month kind of prospect period where you have to, plan a ride and hang out and participate and attend like an out of town rally and whatnot before we vote on you. But once you do get voted in, you have to cut in, and your sponsor usually buys you like a brand new knife, because we don't use that switchblade anymore. We use that switchblade we got from the knife show for quite a few cut-ins. That one's been retired. But yeah, we buy you a knife, and after you cut in, bleed on a dollar bill, and then once the cut's healed, I tattoo stitches over the cut, and then it's official.
Very cool. Didn't you just have a new member cut in
Yeah.
here?
Oh, no, it's been a while since we've cut any new members in. We've got our one prospect just split for Germany. He's doing a internship for the next year. But yeah, we're we're in a little bit of a lull, but it goes with any gang, any club. You have your high periods, and I wouldn't say low periods, but people have lives. We have friends getting married, people start new careers, people are doing internships in Germany.
Is there anybody or any crews or anything you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, well, West Coast represent. All the kids out here, Mosquito Fleet, the squids, land squids, creatures. As far as MA goes, yeah, there's those are the guys we're in contact with the most. One of our members, Lydia, just moved down to Sacramento, so she's hanging with the squids.
Very cool. Let's see. Do you have a website or a Facebook page or any group stuff you'd like to pimp?
Yeah, we have our Puddle Cutters Facebook page. Our website, we're trying to be more attentive to. I mean, really all we've really used it for in the past is like rally registration, but we're working on getting more stuff, just get some shirts and maybe get some pins and patches. And, I've been doing screen printing for over 20 years, so, we'll get some shirts, and I got a buddy that has a setup to print skateboards and stuff, so we're going to try and get some more of that stuff up for people if they so desire.
Some sweet Puddle Cutters swag?
Yeah, some swag.
Was there anything else you wanted to talk about or mention? Or
Moped GP is starting to become a pretty big event. It's really exciting to see moped racing progressing as it is in the States. There was only a couple people really racing. Some people back in the Midwest and whatnot have, it's just the towns are a lot closer, so it's a lot easier for a lot of branches, back east and Midwest to hang out and, go to each other's rides and stuff. whether it be MA official or just like regular clubs. But out here on the West Coast, everything's so spread out. We're on the coast, but it's at least like a 10-hour drive for most of us to even get to the next city. Like San Francisco and San Francisco are closer together, and same thing with like Portland and Seattle. But if we're going to go down, if like they're going to come up or we're going to go down there, like going down to LA or something, it's a trek. But there's a couple tracks out here that we had started racing at, and we actually had a pretty good little moped race thing going here. And then as soon as Tomahawk did the first Tomahawk Cup, which eventually became Moped GP, I could tell that it was just starting to boom, and especially people coming out and seeing how cool it is to be on a track, be in a controlled environment, and really be able to like show off your builds and open up your bike and have fun on track in a controlled environment. I haven't made it out the last couple of years, but Jesse Stevenson, he's been attending, and amazing mechanic, tuner, and all around just great, smart dude when it comes to building bikes and building engines and stuff. And he's been a huge help to the community in that respect. Same with Sabatino too. I'm sure people know Sabatino mopeds. He's been a good support in the community as far as like getting parts and keeping bikes on the road. But we were racing here for a while, and it's kind of faded out as far as like our own personal race stuff. But it's cool to see that happening. I know it's been going on in Europe for years, but yeah, it's really cool to see that starting to pick up in the States, both West Coast, Midwest, East Coast, down south. All the people that are putting bikes on the track and building ridiculous shit. It's pretty fucking cool.
Right. Getting a legitimate competition going.
Oh, and it's so cool watching like people that have been like working on their bikes for a few years, and not that they like have a beef on the track, but there's usually like friendly competition. And seeing like people that have been like really putting their all into it and have a passion for it that much, going head to head is always fucking rad.
Right, and you get to show off your build, and you get to exercise that in front of people and
totally.
See what kind of numbers you can pull out of your labor of love.
Yeah, and the camaraderie, sharing knowledge, like, oh, you did that, oh, I never thought of that, and passing that on, and that's what's the great thing about the whole, moped community, is just sharing of that knowledge and helping everything progress and keeping bikes on the road.
And that's a bit about what this podcast is all about.
Cool.
Sharing knowledge, sharing histories of clubs and distributors and shops, and just trying to eliminate some of that tension or beef that may be out there with different crews, or just not knowing who they are.
Yeah. And there's always going to be something. Not everybody's going to get along with everybody. That's just.
I found it helps a lot when
life.
you know the history of a crew, how they got started, who the members are. That helps humanize them a little bit and shows that now they're not that different from you guys. I guess one of the questions I should ask, who are the Puddle Cutters? How many people do you have?
Oh, wow. Okay, so currently I actually pulled up, because I'm bad at all this stuff, I pulled up our MA page. So currently we have, 17 active members and 4 scouts, which, at our last meeting we were kind of thinking about redefining the term scout, because, it's just a moped army term.
Right. I
think we were talking about more along the lines of nomad, Because I mean, scouts, like, yeah, you're actively trying to like start a branch in another city, whereas that's not necessarily always the case. You know, people move for school or family or work or whatever it is, love. And then, you know, we have a bunch of honorary
Oh,
members,
very cool.
whereas, you know, people that they may or may not even ride mopeds, but they hang out and they contribute and help and, you know, whatnot. And we have 10 honorary members, one of which actually is my dad. He lives in Salt Lake, but yeah, he comes out and hangs, and I built a bike for him here, so when he comes to town, he comes out and rides with us. It's pretty fun. And then, the list of retired, yeah, I don't even want to get into that. But that's the thing with gangs. And I don't know, I like to kind of think that we let it progress naturally. And, you know, people are going to come and go and, you know, have their reasons for leaving or, you know, whatnot. And that's just kind of the nature of the beast. And you can't, I've seen a lot of branches fall apart or implode or, you know, not even disinterest and inner turmoil, you know, whether it just be between like a couple people. Like I said, not everybody's going to get along with everybody, but
Infighting.
I don't know. I'm in this for life. I was one of the people that started this gang, and I don't know. I ain't going nowhere.
Exactly. Being part of a couple different groups outside of Facebook or outside of mopeds, one of the founders of one of those groups told me something very wise a few years ago. He said, members come, members go, feuds come, feuds go. After 20 years, you look back and realize that the club has always been there and everything is just a chapter in that club. You're not going to, one person isn't going to destroy the club. They are going to have their reign of terror, and then it will be over and the club will continue.
Yeah, and I've seen it happen. It's like I said, it's going to ebb and flow, but that's the other thing is not everybody's going to always get along, and everybody's going to have their own idea on how to run things and whatnot. But honestly, I just like to keep it simple, and as much as it is a moped gang, it's really about the people and being accepting. And you know, you start putting too many rules and regulations on people, it makes it not fun. It really just makes it not fun anymore. And you know, then, you know, people don't want to do it. It's not a job. And we sure as hell ain't getting paid for it.
Exactly. I always say two things. It's hard to take yourself too seriously when you're riding a glorified BMX bike.
Yeah, exactly. It's just mopeds.
Exactly.
And it's just mopeds.
The other thing I always say is jet for the air leak. I get a lot of hate on that one, but jet for the air leak.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
All right. Is there anything else you can think of? Or?
Another shout out to Craig Flippy. You will find Sasquatch. I have faith in you, buddy.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's super cool.
He's another mopeder. He's actually one of the first people that I knew that had a moped before Puddle Cutters got like actually established. He rode his moped from LA to Portland. You know, he was traversing the Pacific Northwest in search for Sasquatch. He's still at it. He's a filmmaker. He's amazing. Yeah, Craig Flippy. He's worked with Bobcat Goldthwait, and you know, he worked on Animal Planet on the Finding Bigfoot series and stuff. Awesome, hilarious, rad dude. He did our video, our you know, rally trailer for Hot Blooded. Our Hot Blooded rally, he did the trailer for that, which is hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty professional looking.
Yeah, dude's legit.
Well, thank you, Bob, for coming in today and telling us all about the Puddle Cutters.
You're welcome.
Is there anything else you wanted to say before we wrap it up?
Thanks, Ashley. This was fun. Yeah, that's
Definitely.
cool. I'm looking forward to hearing it. Checking out some of the other, seeing what the other branches had to say. Are you just doing Moped Army, like any other like moped clubs, or just strictly Moped Army stuff branches?
I have a list of 200 different
Oh
entities that I'm
Jesus! Oh
working
God!
on right
Have
now.
fun. Have fun with that.
Some of the more notable things is
Yeah.
I'm going to be interviewing Rodney at Treatland,
Oh, cool.
and I'm going to be. I can't remember his name. I think he's the CMO, the media officer for Tomos America.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
That's going
It's
to be a
cool to see
huge one.
Tomos still kind of being. I mean, they're the only moped importer now, but at least they're sending, or they put together a decent couple bikes that appeal to, I guess, our aesthetic.
I love the classics, the classic
Yeah,
ones.
yeah. You know, when they first started importing them into the States, my buddy Patrick that runs P-Town Scooters, another awesome dude, rad mechanic for vintage two-stroke stuff. You know, they threw away all those square headlights. They got a bunch of CUV, the round bullet headlight buckets. They basically took the 2008 models and turned them into what Tomos is now importing.
Yeah, that's really cool. Kind of bringing them back to the
Yeah.
old style. I always like the round CV style. I put those
Yeah,
on my
yeah.
Mobies, the
Yeah, definitely.
bullets.
Well, it was great for me because I really didn't give a shit either way. And those halogen, I don't know if they're even halogen, but they're a lot brighter headlight bulb. I ended up getting a bunch of those old square buckets and reusing them on my bikes because they weren't doing anything with them. It's like, hey, free headlight, nice and bright.
Yeah, I'm sure somewhere somebody's got a pile of them and they've got like 8 headlights on their bike.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, well, thank you again for being on today. It was a pleasure talking with you, and
Well, cool, Ashley. Yeah, yeah. Nice chatting with you. Maybe you can make it out here to Portland sometime and come ride with us.
I would love to. Now that I've got the Bratmobile, I should be able to
Yeah.
make it to a ton of rallies this year.
Cool, cool. I know it's not our rally this year, but Mosquito Fleet's doing theirs. We'll all be up there. Be good to meet you in person.
Definitely. If the stars align, I will definitely be out there.
All right, cool.
Have a
Awesome.
good day.